Hello there, let's learn how to set up Git and use basic Git commands to create, track, and commit files to the repository. We need to explore Git to ensure that we can create a collaborative environment for developers so that they can participate in the DevOps pipeline or life cycle. Git helps us keep track of code changes, and it also helps us manage version control. To set up Git, we have created a directory called lab1. Let's run the command dir to view the content of the directory. As we can see, we have a file called test.java. The next step is to create a collaborative environment. To do so, we'll need to set up Git. To do that, we'll use the git config command to set it up. We must also provide the author's name, email, username, so that any modifications made to the repository can be tracked back to the correct author. So, let's run the command git config -- global user.name, followed by the username, that is Alex. Next, we will add the user's email address. To do that, run the same command, replacing name with email, and then specify the email address. So, we have successfully configured Git. Now, whenever commits are made, it will use this username and email to recognize the commit. Our next task is to create the repository. To do that, we'll run the command git init. As we can see, it has created a resource called .git in the current directory. To confirm, run the command dir. We are unable to locate the .git resource since it's hidden. Let's move to the .git resource. To do that, we'll run the command cd followed by .git. Next, we will run the command dir to explore the content of the .git resource. As we can see, it has created a structured file system, which contains config, description, head, hooks, info, object, and refs. All this information will be utilized by Git when we start committing to the repository. We will clear the screen. Now, let's move back to lab1 directory. To do that, run the command cd. Next, let's check the status of the repository. To do that, run the command git followed by status. As we can see, we have a file that is not yet staged. This means that the file in the current directory is not yet a part of your Git repository. We need to add the file to the working tree. To do that, we can run the command git add followed by the file name. Now, if you would like to add all the files in the directory, we need to specify start. Even though we have only one file in the current directory, for simplicity, we'll specify star. Now, it has added all the files which are there in the current Git directory, which is a repository to stage state, which means that now your repository is aware of the resource. Let's check the status. To do that, run the command git followed by status. We can see that it is aware of the file to be added, which is test.java. Let's commit it. To do that, we'll run the command git commit -m followed by the commit message. As we can see, the file has been successfully committed. Now, let's run the command git status to check the status once again. We get a message indicating that we are on the master branch, and there is nothing to commit. Let's clear the screen. The following step is to make changes to the file that we've already committed. To do so, enter the command notepad followed by the name of the file to which we want to make modifications. The file test is launched in Notepad, which contains a simple Java program to print the message test file. As we can see, there is a typo in the program. Let's correct it and duplicate the print statement. We'll save the changes and close the text editor. So, we have made some changes to the file, which is being managed by the Git repository. Now, let's check the status by running the command Git Status. The output indicates that the file has been modified. So, let's commit the changes. To do that, we'll run the command git commit-m followed by a message. We get a message indicating that the changes have not been staged for commit. So, let's stage the changes. For that, we'll run the command git add followed by *. Next, we'll check the status. As we can see, Git has reset the pointer. Finally, we'll commit the changes. The output indicates that one file was changed, there were 4 insertions and 1 deletion. Let's clear the screen. So far, we have made a few commits to the repository. Now, let's verify the same in the log. To do that, run the command Git Log. We are provided with the ID of both the commits. Now, let's verify all the changes that were made in the second commit. For that, we'll run the command Git Show followed by the ID of the commit. As we can see, we are provided with the details of the changes that were made in the second commit. It also provides us with the information of the author, email ID, date, and so on. So, by using these commands, you will be able to create and manage repositories.